Or this one's going through a health crisis. Or this one's going through, you don't know. So what's the unity? A picture that shows lots of people standing together? That's unity. We have artificial, meaningless, I would argue, artificial and meaningless standards of unity. And that's why when we complain that we don't have unity, our complaint is also meaningless. It's the same as what I mentioned before. You're standing in front of a field, nothing is growing, and you're like, hey, there's nothing growing here. Wow, how come it's not there already for me? It should already exist and I could just walk into a garden. No. Unless you're ready to be the gardener, there's nothing to complain about. So let's take a step back a little bit and think about that. I'm first and foremost going to talk to the men. And I just want you to sisters, bear with me. Your turn will come. If not today, one day, inshallah. But for now, I'm just going to address the men. For many men in the Muslim community, and I've had many conversations with lots and lots of men across the Muslim communities in the world and also in the United States. One of the most common things you hear from men, the feelings that you get from men, everybody needs something from me. My family needs something from me. My parents need something from me. My kids need something from me. My wife needs something from me. My in-laws need something from me. My boss needs something from me. My community needs something from me. Everybody needs something. And if they get a phone call, even if before they pick up a phone call, it's not going to be about them. Hey, I just wanted to say salam. Are you doing okay? Is everything all right with you? Let's get together sometime. And even if someone calls and says, Assalamualaikum, how are you? Already in your head is, how are you? But what do you really want? What is this about? What's this call for? Nobody's getting in touch with you because they care about you. They're getting in touch with you because they care about something you can give them. So either you're a cash register, or you're a service dispenser, or you're a connector. That's all you are. You're just there to be utilized. You're a tool to be used. And that's it. Nobody else cares about you. Nobody actually sees you for who you are, right? And then you come to the masjid and you hear Muslims are all brothers. Assalamualaikum, brother. And you give each other hugs and salams and dua for each other and all of that. That's great. And the moment you say, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? I'm busy. I'm kind of busy right now. Because nobody has time for you. Nobody has time for you. And take it a step further, when in many families, people depend on you. They depend on you. You're providing, for example, right? And then all of a sudden you get sick and you lose your job. Not only do you lose your job, you lose your respect in the family. People don't look at you the same way anymore. Nobody calls you, and they used to call you all the time. They don't call you anymore. They don't check up on you, nothing. In fact, they're avoiding you as best as possible. You know why? Because all of a sudden you went from someone who was giving to someone who might be asking. So let's stay away from someone who might be asking. If this is the condition even inside of our families, what do you imagine is the condition when we expand that a little bit to a level of a community? What happens then? What happens when people feel nobody actually cares about them? And we happen to live in a society. The United States is different from Denmark. It's different from Germany. It's even different from Canada. Let me tell you something that you already know about the United States. This is the poster child of capitalism. And capitalism is, you got to look out for number one. Nobody cares about you. You got to care for yourself. Nobody's coming for you. So we already breathe capitalism in every day. And on top of that, in your personal lives, in our community lives, it's demonstrated over and over again that even though there is some level of camaraderie between us, salam and dua between us, it doesn't go past formalities. It's not actual brotherhood. Here's the litmus test for what real brotherhood looks like. If I'm really going through a crisis, if there's something terrible I'm going through, is there someone I can call immediately? Who would I think of calling immediately? And would it be the brothers at the masjid? Would it be the people I hang out with? Would it be the people? Who would it be? And if you have those people in your life, then you have some level of brotherhood in your life. But if you have to think twice, if I tell this person, what are they going to think of me? If I tell this person, how will they use it against me? You have to calculate whether or not you should share what's troubling you with someone, because you don't know if they're going to go talk to 20 other people about you. You're going to become the interesting topic on a, at an Eid dinner. You know what this brother told me? He was going through. Oh my God. You don't want to become somebody else's entertaining story. So you keep your mouth shut. You know what that means? You don't have brotherhood in your life. You don't have, the satr that a believer is supposed to give to the other believer. You simply don't have it. You don't have, and let's take even another step. But before I come to the ayat that I really want to share with you today, take another step. There are people in our community, young men, older men, that fail. Failure is a part of life. You fail in an exam. It happens. You fail in a job interview. It happens. You can also fail in your deen. Some young man can go through some depression and start drinking alcohol. It happens. This occurs. Somebody might end up in haram situations, might go down a path, drugs, alcohol, you name it, all of it, the worst of it. And they could keep going down and keep going down. You know what? When they fall, if you had a family member, if you were walking with your child and your child fell, what would you do? You would just pick them up, scrape them off, help heal. If you put some Band-Aid on, put some antiseptic on. Let's heal this person. Let's fix them. What happens in our communities, in our circles, when somebody falls? Oh my God. Astaghfirullah. Look at the youth nowadays. You know what I found out? Abdul Kareem, you know what he's doing? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I saw him coming out of this place, or I saw him doing this. I saw inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Bro, somebody should talk to him. You know what that is? That person may be doing a sin. I would argue you're doing a much bigger sin. You're doing if that is a crime against Allah, you running your mouth about the dignity of your fellow brother to other people, and then saying astaghfirullah as if you genuinely care. Because if you genuinely cared, number one, your mouth would be shut. And the only time it would open is to go reach out to him and give him a hug and say, hey, I'm here for you if you ever need to talk, and it will die with me. That would be you as a brother. That would be you as a brother. But that's not brotherhood. This whole, I'm so concerned about our youth and artificial conversation. This is not brotherhood. This is, I don't know what that is. Backstabbing at least. That's what that is. But that's the reality that we've created for ourselves. And then we have the audacity to say, why isn't the ummah united? The billions of us. Man, can you show me a dozen of us united? How about 2 dozen? How about a couple of hundred before we talk about billions of people being united? So now come back to what was happening with the Sahaba. And what did the Qur'an praise so much? This is one of the most fascinating places in the Qur'an. Very briefly, I'll tell you the story. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was given a remarkable victory at Khaybar. Before Khaybar, Muslims were basically bankrupt. Basically had no money. After Khaybar, all of a sudden, we were millionaires. Millions came in assets, the way if you want to count it in today's values. Millions in real estate, agriculture, recurring revenues, all of that all of a sudden came into Medina. And just before this happened, the Muslims were barely getting by. I mean, there are narrations of the Prophet himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, having to turn his daughter